Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about the concept of prefix sum. So what is prefix sum? Prefix sum is a technique used in coding to calculate the sum of numbers between a certain index and ending in a certain index. So in USACO, a common question would be, does the sum between index of an array 1 and 5 equals the sum of index between 6 and 11. So in order to do this, most people would instinctively use a for loop starting with the starting index and ending with the ending index. So a lot of people would just do for int I equals, so let's just say starting index would be s, I would be less than the ending index, let's just say it's e for ending, and the I plus plus. Well, this is a good start, but usually the question wants you to calculate the indexes more than once. So if you're calculating this, for example, like I said, if you're such as comparing two sum between the set of indexes, this will run every single time you're trying to figure out the certain set of indexes. For example, if you're trying to figure out does this index equal to the other, you will have to run this 2 times. And we don't want that. We want the runtime to be O n, n being the number of elements in the array. With this method, it will be O n times m. And m would be the set of indexes you're comparing, like how many times you need to run this code. So how are we going to solve this question? One day, a nerd has suggested that, well, if we know the sum of all the elements of up to every single index, then we can subtract the sum of the elements before the starting position of the index that we want. Then we'll get the sum between the range of index. So it might sound confusing, but let's draw it out here. So I have an array here, and let's just say we want the sum between 1 and 4. Let's just say between 1 and 4. So you want it between here and here. Now we're not counting 4 because in a substring in Java, or you're finding an array, you start with the first letter you want and stop with the first element that you do not want. So we're actually just wanting the sum of 10, 10, and 20. So how are we going to do that? First, like I said, we want to add up the sum of the elements up onto a certain index. So we're basically using a recursive rule that is an, that's the current position, which will equal to an plus an minus 1. So which means what we are trying to do is we want 5 and then 10 plus 5 and then 10 plus the result of 10 plus 5. So we will end up with, well, 10 plus 5. First we're starting with 5 because 5 is not plusing anything. 5, 10 plus 5 is 15. 10 plus 15 would be 25. 20 plus 25 would be 45. And 25 plus 45 would be 70. So how are we going to find the index between 1 and 4? So 1 is here. That's 4. All we want is this. Like I said, we want to get the index up, get the sum of the value up onto a certain index that we want. So we want it to end over here. So we would grab 45 and subtract the index before that we don't want. So we'll subtract 5 over here. And as we all know, 45 subtract 5 equals 40. And what you see? 10 plus 10 plus 20 is equal to 40. Let's try another example. So here's another example. So this time let's have from 0 to 4. Now we don't actually want 4, so we're excluding that. The last index, the range, we're not counting it. So we want the sum of 1, 3, 5, and 7. And like I said, we want to add up the elements. We have to find the sum up onto every index. So we would have, well, 1 is not adding anything, still 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. 16, 25, and 36. So we're looking at index 3, which is here, and 0. 4, we're not counting. So first we will have 16, the sum of all the elements up onto that index, and then we're starting with 0. However, like I said, you want to subtract the index, like the number before the range you want. However, 0 is the beginning, so you're not actually subtracting anything. So let's just see. So this has a result of 16. Does 1 plus 3 plus 5 7, and plus 7 equal 16? Well, it does. 1 plus 7 is 8. And 3 plus 5 is 8. And 8 plus 8 would be 16. Now let's see how this applies to code. So this is our code. Usually the header will be given to you, but this time I've set up some parameters which consist of an array, the index that you want to start with, and the index that you want to end with. So we first set up a for loop. This is our recursive rule where we are adding the two numbers together there in front. So we want to find the sum of all the index up onto every index that we talked about earlier. So it will start with 1. We're not changing anything to the first element. It will stay as it is because there's just nothing to add to it. So starting with 1, and then we'll go through the array. It will be array I, which is the current position, equals the current position plus the position before it. So which, does what it meant to do, which is a n equals a n, which will probably like a box around here. A n equals a n plus a n minus 1. Now we have an if statement here which states if the index or beginning is 0, you would just return the last index that we want and subtract 1. Because we've added up all the index up onto every point. We can just simply return it since it already has everything added in front, and since it's starting with 0, we are not subtracting anything beginning from it. Else, if it's not 0, then like I said, we'll have all the index upon here, all the sum of the index upon here, subtract the first letter in front of our range that we do not want. So this would the runtime would be O n, because it goes through the array how much letters in there, and we can run this multiple times to get into different values, and we don't have to use the brute force method and go through the loop every single time you want to find a range between some. So yeah, this is how the code works. This is what it looks like. We have some test cases. I have one test cases. Let's see. So first we want to print out between 3 to 4, and that should give us 20. So 0, 1, 2, 3. This will give us 20. Let's see. That should give us 20. Let's say 1 to 4. So that will give us 40. Let's see if it gives us 40. It does give us 40. And just if you're curious, let's print out this array to see what it looks like after we add them. Let's still use our good habit of copy pasting. So like I said, if you add everything, 5, 15, 25, 45, 70, and this 40 is just the result. Oh, here, we can just this should have a better visual. Yeah. So it'll be this and not 40. 40 is just the result of our calculating the sum. Hopefully this video helps. Goodbye.